Hey, this is Andrew and Chris. Welcome to episode 0 of True Believers, a comic book podcast. Today, we are here to give you some background on us and why we decided to start the podcast with questions from our personal friends and family.
Yeah, Chris has got a few topics that we are going to talk about today, so hopefully you learn a little bit about us before getting into the actual podcast.
Our first episode, which we will, of course, drop right after episode 0, is going to be about the background of Loki from Marvel Comics.
Loki, the show is out right now as we are recording this, so it's been getting a lot of positive reviews, so we thought we would just, like she just said, give a background so that way you can understand the character a little bit more. But as of today, it's just to understand us a little bit more.
Yeah. So, Andrew,
Hello.
where did the name of our podcast come from?
Okay, so our name actually, well, it started with we were trying to think of comic book related names, right? And Chris had a huge list of names. Most of them were terrible, but she had on there two different ones, which were True Believers, which comes from The Runaways Volume 4. And then she had podcast with the D and C capitalized for DC Comics. So I just accidentally kind of combined them together to make this name,
Oh,
and it
I
worked
just
out.
accidentally kind of combined them together to make the whatever.
It was like a joke that I did, but then it sounded
Hating
like
at its
actually
finest.
pretty good.
It
It
sounded
sounded
good when I
good.
said it the first time.
She had True Believers as one, and then DC or the DC capitalized in podcast as another name, and I just put it together, and
And
then we
both
made a
were
good
great.
name.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's where it came from.
Okay.
So
Andrew.
Chris,
Mm-hmm.
oh, what was the first comic book you ever read, and what got you into reading comics?
Well, as you may know, but none of these people who are listening will, I am obsessed with Archie comics. The first comic book that I ever read was Betty and Veronica, and I got it at the grocery store. I used to beg my mom for the latest hot new Betty and Veronica comics every time I went shopping. And because my mom is so indulgent, she always said yes. And that has fostered a lifelong love of comic books. What's the
Yes, it
first
has.
comic book you ever read?
Well, in case you guys, you guys wouldn't know this, but Chris has a ton of Archie comic book like clothes, everything, just everything. But my first comic book I ever read, I don't even really know what it was, but I do remember that I got into comic books because when I was little, like X1 through 3 had just come out, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah,
Been there,
so
seen that.
I saw them at like my cousin's house or something, and I was like, "Oh, this shit's kind of cool." Like, whatever. So then I started reading comic books from there. So I don't know what the first comic book I actually read was, but it had to be something X-Men related, obviously. But
It's
yeah,
always X-Men time around these parts,
it's
partner.
always X-Men time, always. But I think it started with those movies because they were really interesting.
No, they're not. But
They
everybody is
are.
fine. Those movies are so awful. Like, tell me the plot of X-Men #1 right now. Gun your head. What's the plot?
The plot was they were trying to get. Oh, fuck! It had to do with the senator who turned into
Yeah,
goo.
you
Do you
don't even know.
remember? Do you
Anyway,
remember? He
yes, I
turned
know
into
the
goo
whole
at the end
plot.
of the movie because they had like,
The
oh fuck,
whole
I can't
plot was that
remember.
Magneto and Mystique were trying to turn Senator Kelly into mutants because he was trying to
Yes,
pass
because
the
he was all
anti-mutant
anti-mutant.
bill.
Yep.
And they Magneto got Rogue because he wanted to use her to blast his mutant making machine all over the world. That is the plot.
And then
Now, where
remember
does
there
Wolverine
because
come in? I don't know.
he's just fine. He just shows up to look good.
Per
But do you
as he
remember in
should.
that movie whenever because it happens on Staten Island or Liberty Island, I mean,
Yeah.
on the Statue of Liberty. And fucking Storm Halle Berry with a horrible accident. Do you know what happens to a frog when you electrocute it? The same thing that happens to everything
Anything
else.
else?
Like, bitch, who wrote that?
The thing that's so funny about it is that she had an accent in the first movie, and that's it.
It's because it was so bad. They were like, please don't do that again. Like, don't do that.
No, I won't even talk about my good sis Halle because I just won't on
You
principle.
know,
But no,
Hallie's one of my favorites ever, but we're not going to sit there and say that that was good.
anyways,
Talk about the
Storm
horrible
is one of my
wigs.
favorite comic book characters, but she's not my absolute favorite. Who's yours?
My absolute favorite is, you already know this,
It's
but
Jean
it's
Grey.
No, it's
Really?
Nico Minoru, the
Oh
little
wow.
the Runaways.
I'm deeply
Oh,
surprised because you don't have a Runaways tattoo, but you definitely have a Jean Grey tattoo.
I do have a Jean Grey tattoo, but you know you can't really just get like a Nico tattoo.
She literally
But
carries
she's
a
from the
giant staff.
Runaways. I don't want
The
a
Runaways,
giant staff down my
the
arm.
second best young superhero team.
The first because she's
Mm,
a Japanese witch, bisexual Japanese witch. That's hard to beat. But
I don't know
so,
if you've
who's your
heard of this
favorite?
little team. They're not very well known. A little undercover. The Young Avengers is better than them. But anyway, my favorite comic book character can't be beat. It's literally Superman. Who's beating him? Nobody. And before you even say any haterism, I'm right and you're wrong. Anyway, do you have any new favorite comic books that are currently coming out?
Um, I have to be honest. I have to actually look into it because right now, you already know, but we are reading, or I am reading the Future State. The what is it? Invincible Wonder Woman, I think
I
is
thought
what
it
it's
was
called.
Immortal Wonder Woman.
Immortal Wonder Woman. Yeah, no, it's really. I'm only on like the first few issues. I think I'm on issue 6 or so, but it is pretty good so far. It's like a futuristic, very far into the futuristic Wonder Woman. But
I kind
so
of
that
like
one's
what
pretty
DC
good.
is doing with I still don't know if it's Future Slate or Future State, and I probably should have looked that up earlier because
It's
I
Future
actually am.
State.
Ironically, I'm reading Wonder Girl. I'm really enjoying the art so far. It's very beautiful, and there's nothing. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. My favorite new comic book coming out is Static. I have been
Oh yeah.
manifesting the Milestone Media revival for over 10 years. Literally, I have put my blood, sweat, and tears into manifesting that for all of y'all. And I didn't even plug Static first. That's my boy. Icon and Rocket are coming back. Hardware, Static. The Dakota Verse is here, baby. But DC Comics, they'll let me know that they're really real when they bring back the Blood Syndicate. And that's all you got to say on that.
Yeah, I totally forgot Static was coming back too for a second there. I did.
We're just bad people. Sorry, y'all.
Yeah.
So, what's your favorite superhero team? Would you consider it to be the Runaways or like Justice
Yeah.
League, Avengers? Runaways, really?
Yeah. I think it would have to be the Runaways.
Um, Despite everything that I just said about Young Avengers, my favorite superhero team is actually the Seven Soldiers of Victory. They're a little bit lesser known, but Stargirl, there's a TV
Mhm.
show. The Seven Soldiers of Victory are a big part of like the character's backstory, and I've heard they're gonna make an appearance in the season 2 of the Stargirl show. So I'm
Oh,
really excited for that.
I didn't know that they were doing that.
Yeah, I
That's gonna be
mean,
good. I love that show. You know how? Yeah.
period. And then like everybody who hated on it, I was just like, okay, I know I was pissing people off last year because I stay on a ban on Facebook for fighting with people on the DC Comics Facebook page. And when the Stargirl show was actively coming on, all the super old haters who haven't read a comic book since 1989 and they can't get Batman's meat out their mouth. They came in droves every week. Why why does this have to come on? Why can't there be a show about this? Beth sucks. And like all of the hate on the show was going towards Beth and Yolanda. And I was like, one of these things is not like the other. Nope. I rebuke that negativity in the name of Jesus. Amen. Move forward. I don't care. And then I called somebody stinky and I ended up on a 7-day ban because my account is never in good standing. But anyway, the Seven Soldiers of Victory. So I'm excited for them. But Young Avengers, I fully believe they are the best junior superhero team, and nobody can change my mind.
Okay. Well, what is your favorite comic book event?
I don't want to say because everybody hates it, and I'm the only one. What's
What is
yours?
it?
You tell me yours, and I'll tell you mine.
First, okay, the first thing that came to my mind when I read this question just now was Justice League Dark.
Okay, per
You know,
what is it about the Justice League Dark that really lights the fire within you?
Constantine and Zatanna together working to what the fuck is his name? Clarion.
Claire and
God,
the
it's
Witch Boy,
just
yeah.
It's so funny. Clarion is so stupid. He's like one of the dumbest villains ever, but he's so fun whenever.
Actually, if you read the Seven Soldiers of Victory comic book, that's where I was introduced to Clarion the Witch Boy, because when, unlike with Marvel and their weird events, like usually when DC does one, it'll be like blank blank book 1, blank blank book 2, and like that'll be what came out, instead of being like, oh, you got to read blah 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 blah. Like they have it collected as one event when it's time to collect.
Yeah, like how Marvel, it's so many different things going on in the same event that you have to read comics that don't really pertain to the event to know what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, or to get some backstory. I don't want the backstory. Don't hit me with that asterisk.
I just want to know like what happened, like I'm just trying to read this event through. No, I agree.
Yeah. Anyway, you told me yours, so I guess I gotta say, are we sure you want to hear mine?
Yeah.
Okay, it's Kingdom Come. Nobody likes Kingdom Come but me and Jay-Z. I don't even know if Jay-Z has read it, but that's what he called his album because of the Kingdom Come event. So Kingdom Come has it has what all these other events want. Civil War wishes it had what Kingdom Come has.
I forgot about Civil War. Not that that would have been my favorite. I like to forget about that. Yeah. Anyways.
So I really thought you were going to challenge me on the Kingdom Come thing. So I had pulled up the lyrics to the Kingdom Come song, and I was getting ready to to quote Jay-Z.
No, I was just going to let you have it. I'm not going to judge. A little bit. Like, it could have been worse. At least you didn't say, like, oh, I can't think of anything bad. My mind just
Court of Owls. Huh?
Okay, you could have said that. That's so much worse.
Wait,
Court of Owls doesn't even make sense.
Andrew, have you ever read Kingdom Come?
No.
Wow. I am wounded.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You grow from your pains.
Wow. No, we got to fix that, because Kingdom Come is one of the most beautiful, beautiful books I've ever read. Like, not content-wise. I mean the art. I mean, I like the content too. No, I'm just digging my hole. Anyway. Oh, wow. So it looks like our next question is, what's your favorite comic that everyone else thinks is bad? And I feel like I answered that. So what's your favorite movie or show based on a comic?
Movie or show based... Oh, the Harley Quinn TV show.
Oh my God, Cuoco? That's the best show ever. Again, reason for one of my 7-day bans.
Yeah, no, that show is amazing. It is so funny, and it's so accurate to how the characters should be in like a world without Joker, kind of, you know what I mean?
I like that it's like satirical, because like obviously they're making, it's like a joke. They're acting in an exaggerated way, but it's so funny.
And it's so accurate to how I imagine these characters would be, because this is post Joker, she's already gone through it. And this is like how Harley should be,
Yeah. I'm glad. I like to see women who know their worth.
Exactly.
And my favorite character on that show, well, I like Ron Funches anyway. I just like him. But it's King Shark. He eats.
Oh yeah.
I didn't mean to say eat. Like, that came out wrong. I mean, he does, but he ate. He really ate. And then I like the random side characters that they'll sometimes have. Like when she blasted that guy with a ray at, I think they were at the Legion of Doom's headquarters or something, or like the Penguin's nephew's bar mitzvah or something. And she blasted that guy with a cancer ray, and he's like, now he's gonna get cancer. Oh my God, I gotta go to my family and tell them I love them. I was like, I'm sorry. Like, that was so funny.
That show is so weird, but it's so good.
I don't know. Of course, my favorite show based on a comic book is The GOAT.
The GOAT.
Oh, it's Smallville, but...
Oh, I was trying to think.
Now I feel awkward saying it, though, because, with Homegirl going to jail as she should. I can't even really watch I can't even watch the show really anymore, even though I own all the seasons. But just like knowing that, it just kind of, it sours the show for me. So
it really does.
I end up watching Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman, and I hear allegedly that Dean Cain is some kind of terrible person. But see, when y'all started saying that, I had already, like, I got them as gifts, so I had already owned all the seasons of Lois and Clark. So every time I see Dean Cain trending, like, delete the trend on Twitter and I have his name muted. If he's a horrible person at this point, that's his business.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's move on to topic 6. Oh wait, we already had topic 6. What's the weirdest comic book merch that you own?
I think I need a second. What's the weirdest comic book
Ooh,
merch that
okay,
you own?
I already know mine. This one is really good. So I went and did a 5K once, like less than a year ago.
Okay, healthy.
Yeah, I like to do things like that. But anyways, it was a Wonder Woman 5K. It was Wonder Woman themed. They gave you like capes and stuff.
Okay.
But they also give you these like armbands, kind of like, I don't even know how you describe them, but they're like
her
bands. No, they're like long. They go like, okay, so
like
they're
arm
for
warmers?
children. Yeah, they're like kind of like an arm warmer, but they're made in a children's size, so they don't go very far. But it would take up like a whole child's arm. You know what I mean? Like its whole forearm. They're so weird, but they're Wonder Woman and they're blue and they look like her cape, but they're children's size, so I can't wear them. So I put them on the dog. So it's his little bracelets. He loves them.
That sounds like animal abuse. Anyway,
he loves them. He walks around showing them off.
I can't think of. I'm ignoring that. Not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
He's cute. I'll send you pictures later. I think I have some of him in his little bracelets.
Oh yeah, send them to me. I'll put them on the Instagram. The weirdest comic book merch that I own, I do have a miniature bat signal. It's only weird because I'm not really a big fan of Batman, but I bought it a while ago for somebody. Sometimes in your life, as Miss Mariah Carey says, there's snakes in the grass and you got to cut the lawn. I don't know. I just felt like they didn't deserve it. So I just kept it. And it's really cool. It's like a conversation piece because anytime somebody sees it next to my little Fast and Furious cars, they're like, ooh, Andrew, we didn't even talk about the weirdest piece of comic book merchandise that we own is the fact that we have like 20 million matching comic book t-shirts. You didn't think about
that's true. We do that.
Andrew and I in 2019.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, we actually ended up winning a costume contest at this event for Geeks Who Drink because nobody really came in a costume. So they were like, oh, people who have like t-shirts on, like, let's see your shirt. We were wearing the exact same outfit.
It was our Carol Corp shirt.
Yep. And I had on these little star earrings and they were like, are you guys wearing matching outfits? Do you know each other? And I was like, yeah, we're best friends. And they were like, oh, you guys win.
Yeah, it was the weirdest thing. We did not win the trivia, which was stupid. But, we won the costume contest.
Wait, not only did we not win the trivia, we came in like 8th.
Yeah, it was really embarrassing.
But you know what? We had 2 weak links on our team. That's what it was. The 2 weak links.
We did. They kept arguing with us about the answers. And I was like, y'all aren't even, like, why are you here?
First of all, well, actually, no, we only had 1 weak link. But the other one was not, like, I was like, shut up. And the trivia was more on the movies, which I'm going to be honest, I have not watched most of the MCU movies. I'm not really interested. But like, I did some research. I read the Wikipedia for Doctor Strange. I was mad that we came in 8th. But then we did another trivia with them and we came in 3rd. And then we were the only people who didn't get a prize. Like, first place got a prize, second place got a prize. I was like, where's the 3rd place prize? And they were like, the prize was the experience. And I was
That's what it was. Remember, because it was a Harry Potter trivia back before J.K. Rowling came out and said she was stupid. But they kept arguing with me about the answers. Remember, because they changed like 2 answers, which is what stopped us from getting first place.
And that was our 2 dead weights.
I know. I was so mad. I was mad because I was right about that. We would have got first place. We would have tied for first if they would have just taken my answers. But
first of all, the fact that we would have tied for first, and I haven't read these books in years. Like, I gave away, like, I got all the books for free. Well, I bought number 7 when it came out, but I got all the other books for free. I hadn't read them in years. Don't watch the movies, and I still knew all the answers. So that really, I just want y'all to know how much they were holding us back.
It was ridiculous. We would have tied for first. I'm just saying. I wasn't writing because my handwriting's terrible.
And then homegirl who didn't. Okay, the funniest joke in the world is, girls with good coochie pee loud or whatever, and it sounds like it's frying chicken. Who doesn't laugh at that joke? Like, I was like, man, I piss loud as hell. Sound like I'm frying chicken, and like, who doesn't laugh at that joke? That's how I knew that the vibe was off. I knew that we were gonna lose right then when she's like, that isn't funny, and I was like, Nobody tells me that I'm not funny, first of all.
A lot of people tell you that.
Yeah,
But
whatever. I don't
anyways,
care.
back to
Back
topic
to what we were
7 now.
actually talking about.
So what, you can answer this question. What made us want to start a podcast?
Well, I kind of got the idea that I wanted to start a podcast from watching all the MCU movies with my mom. My mom is not a comic book person. She's not interested. And I respect that. But she also wants to know every single thing that's going to happen. So she'll like, we'll be in the middle of a movie or a show and she'll be like, who is that? What's this? And I figured, since I'm already explaining it to my mom, I might as well explain it to other people,
Mhm. Yeah, no, because especially with the MCU out right now, it is becoming like more prevalent. Like everywhere you look, there is something happening, and I don't know, like you just said, like I'll be watching with my roommates, and they won't know things, so they'll ask me, and I'm like, bro, like I don't want to explain everything. Watch
The
the
thing that's
movie,
so
you know?
crazy is it could be literally anything. Like when WandaVision was
Literally.
coming out, and I didn't watch WandaVision until like the last week because I wasn't interested. But then by then, everybody had hyped it up so much. Even though, like, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you listeners. I don't like Wanda or Pietro Maximoff. They are two of my least favorite comic book characters of all time. I actively hate them. So don't ever try and cancel me for lying about that because you can search my Twitter name and then Wanda and then find everything I've ever said about them. So so I was like, oh no, don't ask me about WandaVision. Like, I don't care. Like, but everybody knows that I read comic books. And they were like, what is House of M? Can Wanda change reality? What does Scarlet
it
Witch mean? I was like, listen, I don't care.
it was like the basic stuff too. Like I feel like that's things everybody should or not should know, but like people at least who know comic books know things like House of M. You know,
Even if they didn't like it, like what it is.
that was a huge turning point. A huge turning point in the X-Men comics, even all the Marvel comic books actually.
Yeah, it because mutants hate Wanda Maximoff to this day. To this day, they call her the Pretender. Because for them to put them in the Age of Ultron, they were like, oh, so they can't be mutants because Fox owned all the rights to like the X-Men and
Mhm.
mutants or whatever.
Yeah.
So they had to like change them. And first of all, that was a very racist storyline because they got experimented on by Nazis. I was like, did we can't just gloss that over. You got experimented on by Nazis. Like, you volunteer for that. That's weird. But so they changed that, and then so in the comic books they changed it so that she wasn't a mutant, and that Magneto was no longer her biological father, and so all mutants call her the Pretender after the aftermath of M Day, where she was like, no
Yeah.
more mutants. I was like,
So maybe that's an episode we'll have to do at a later time because House of M, even if you don't like it, it was still a big moment. Like there's no going around that one.
oh, don't get me wrong, like I actively hate them, but I love House of M. The aesthetics are unmatched.
Oh my
The
god, I know.
vibe is on.
Fucking whenever I send you that like no more mutants, but I change it to whatever I want. Like it's a reoccurring
I
thing
hate
that
that
happens between us.
I hate that I introduced you to that meme. Because what did I send? I was like, no
Played
more
yourself with that
Andrew.
one.
Yeah, and now
You're
everything. And just like no more work.
no more. Yeah, so House of M, we'll have to definitely come back to that at a later date because even if, like I said, even if you don't like it, it's a big moment and visually
It's
it's
stunning.
so pretty. It's so pretty.
And it like House of M explains perfectly why I hate Pietro. Like Wanda,
Oh
I
yeah.
have respect for Wanda at least. At least I have respect for her because Wanda Maximoff, what good or bad, whatever you think of her, she is that girl. She is the moment. She is the movement. She is always going to be the talk of the town. Pietro, I'm like, shut up. You're not even the fastest
Dude,
mutant.
the way see, we got to come back to it later, but he fucking okay, never mind. I don't want to give spoilers about House of M in case you haven't read it. But if you haven't read it, then what are you even doing with your life? But I still
It's
don't
just
want to
the
give
fact that he's
spoilers.
not even the fastest mutant. Like
Yeah, he does
you
some fucked up shit, y'all.
and on
And
top
he's
of
not
that,
even the fastest.
you're not
Like,
even
who
the
is this
fastest
man?
mutant. You are the lowest performing member of your family.
Mm-hmm. And then sometimes he's not even a part of the family, and it's like, you know what? You should be, shouldn't be.
The thing that's so funny about this is that when Marvel was like, yep, Magneto is no longer their father, Pietro still looks exactly like him.
Oh yeah, they're like identical. Like that's your father. There's no other way around it.
That he the pappy.
Also, random, but I hate when they do that shit. Whenever they're like, they like take them away from being mutants, to like, it's so stupid.
I feel like
Because
they're gonna
sometimes they're
correct
mutants,
that
sometimes they're
with
not.
what is it, X Factor that's coming out now, like with the Hellfire Gala. I feel like that's
I
what
don't
they're
know.
building up to. I haven't been reading it because I I said I was gonna start when the whole Hellfire Gala thing was over. I hate to be left out of a movement, very much like my mom in that way, but I was like, I'll catch him when it's over.
I don't know where they're gonna go with that. I haven't even started it. Cause same, I'm just read it when it's over.
Well,
I don't.
I got mentally it mentally attacked with the fact that apparently like on Krakoa, which is like the mutants' new home, which I'm like, okay, yes, because
Yeah.
I thought Genosha was a really good idea, but I was like, the execution could have been a little bit different. But I think with what they've got going on with Krakoa, they got some shady people on their board of directors. Like I still know a little bit from what's on in the zeitgeist. I heard that to get your mutant powers back, you have to like die and be reborn as a mutant or something.
What?
And I saw like Jean Grey coming back to life, and I was like, Jean, because I love Jean, even if I do like to make jokes about her being homophobic.
Listen.
Now that's another meme that we have never let go, because Andrew made a meme about Bobby, you're gay, like, and he like anytime something happens, he will send me, Bobby, you're gay.
Well, this wasn't even a meme. This was like actually what happened in the
No,
comic
that
books. He
was
comes out to her and she's like, "I'm a telepath, dude."
he
Like, I know.
tries. He was like, and she said, Bobby, you're gay.
She said, "I'm a telepath. I've
You know what that
known."
reminds me of though? Have you ever seen Happy Death Day?
Yes, I think so.
If you haven't, we gotta fix that. It's one of my favorite movies. But during the like Groundhog Day thing she's going through, she sees that guy who like she went on a bad date with or whatever, and he keeps coming up to her at the beginning of the day. But like at the end of the day, she sees him. I don't know if he was looking at adult materials or if he was kissing a dude or something, but she looks, I can't think of what it is, but she looks in his window and she's like, huh. And then the next day she like wakes up pissed off, and he's like, hey Tree, blah, blah, blah. You are gay.
That's fucking ridiculous.
It's so funny. Like she was fed up that time. You are gay. And that's what, like, Jean Grey was the calm version of that.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I loved that. That's one of my favorite moments in all comic books.
Oh, wait, Andrew, I think we should probably end our episode 0 in about 3 minutes, because we've gone really far off topic, even though it has been really fun. But I have to come back
Okay.
to one of our topics, because I
Okay.
thought about it, and the weirdest comic book merchandise that I own, it's not weird. It's everybody else's reaction to it. Because I sent you know what my profile picture looks like on every social media account, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm wearing about $60 or $70 worth of comic book merchandise in that picture. And I constantly get direct messages from weird men who are like, do you really read comic books? I'm literally wearing merchandise.
Yeah. Yeah. But the people who like to argue with you are people who just think of comic books as like DC's Justice League and like Marvel's MCU, like the big heroes, you know what I mean? And then like you'll be wearing like an Archie hat. Like these people are, I shouldn't say these people, but a lot of people don't realize that is like where comic books has started, first of all, with
I mean,
comics that aren't necessarily heroes, you know what I mean?
exactly. Like, I feel like Archie comics are the backbone of society. Actually, like, saying that is kind of wrong, because I don't read them anymore post Riverdale. Like, I'm just.
When did Archie comics start? Hold on, I'm about to look that up.
It started because it was great. That's why it started.
When? 1941. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it doesn't predate like a lot of the DC heroes that we have now. Like, not Superman, not Batman, not Wonder Woman, but, well, I don't know, 1940 what?
1941. I think that was before Wonder Woman.
I was just thinking that might be pre Wonder Woman, but aside from that, yeah, it's up there though with the big dogs. Like,
Actually, it was Wonder Woman was just a few months before Archie, I think.
Okay, as you should, Princess Diana Themyscira.
11 months before Archie. Damn.
Speaking of Archie comics, I want to give a big shout out to one of my favorite comic book artists, Fiona Staples, who is the blueprint for the all new Archie comics that I love. with her fantastic style. I was one of the questions that someone, I don't even remember who, I think it might have been Alana, but she was like, is there a particular artist or writer that you follow around from project to project? And for me, it's Fiona Staples.
Yeah.
And Marguerite Sauvage probably, but aside from
Yeah, I
that.
know you love her. You love her art.
Yes.
Artist.
When they came out with the DC Bombshells, I saw the art and I was like, I know that's my girl Marguerite. I know
I
it
love
is.
DC Bombshells. I love it's so
It's
cute. The way
that
it's all
HBO Max will never know peace from me mentally until they develop a big budget, and I hope y'all can hear the clap, big budget DC Bombshells show. It's what needs to be done. And
Yeah.
with that, I kind of think we're coming to a natural end. So
All right.
True
Do you wanna wrap it up?
Believers, every week on Wednesday, 2 hot young people. If you don't believe us, check out the Instagram and the Twitter at True Believers Pod. And I
Yeah. So
promise we will never end an episode like this ever again or start it, but the middle might be just like that.
yeah, this is our episode 0. It might get a little crazy. Who knows?
All right. I love you, man.
Love ya.